and he's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Jai, welcome. How are you today, pal? Okay?
I'm good, Mad Dog. Hope you had a great vacation.
Yeah, thank you, Jai. How's school doing? Everything all right?
School's going great for me. Yesterday and the last couple of days, I had baseball tryouts at my high school, and I found out yesterday that I made the team.
There you go. What position you play, Jai?
Outfield and first base.
Okay. Are you a sophomore or a junior?
Sophomore.
You're a sophomore. This is a good baseball school?
It's not the best, but it'll do for this year.
Yeah, you made the team. That's the most important thing. Did you think you were gonna make the team?
I was pretty optimistic. I didn't want to go in cocky because it's my first year at that school, but I wasn't going in thinking I was going to stink up the joint either. I was optimistic about my chances.
Oh, there you go. That's good. That's the first good piece of news today. What's the second piece of news? Let me hear. Go ahead.
Well, I got a couple things. Speaking of that, I want to hear Chris Russo's baseball career before he got into talk radio.
My baseball career, I wasn't very good at it. I loved it. My baseball career as a broadcaster was in Jacksonville, Florida, in 1983. I got a job for the Jacksonville Sons of the AA Southern League. This after a trip to the winter meetings in December of '82 in Hawaii. I ended up getting a job with Lou Anthopoulos, who was the owner of the team in Jacksonville. I went to Jacksonville cold in February of '83, right around the time that the last MASH episode aired, which was 2.5 hours in length, which we just passed its anniversary of, and David Ogden Steers died, the Charles Winchester. Anyway, to make a long story short, I was in Jacksonville. I was there for about 6 weeks. They fired me after 6 weeks, and I got a job at a local radio station. So, but my baseball career was a salesman for advertising for the AA Jacksonville Sons, with the idea that if I sold enough advertising in a 6 to 8 week period in the period of February and March of '83, they would make me their full-time play-by-play guy doing the games on radio. And as it turns out, I didn't get a chance to show them what I can do as a play-by-play guy because they let me go prior to that. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I got involved in radio instead of getting involved for their team. I became a talk show host instead of becoming a play-by-play guy. I got further as a talk show host. I was not going to be the next Vin Scully. So from that standpoint, it turned out to be the best thing. One door shut, another door opened up. Go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking at the team now, and they're the Marlins affiliate. And back in the time where you worked there, they were for the Kansas City Royals.
They were the Royals. Yeah, that's exactly right. When you got on the computer, they were a Royal farmhand in '82. Johnny Morris was a big player for him at the time. Later played for the Cardinals. They were a Met farmhand, I believe, in the 60s, where Tom Seaver pitched. And they were an old-time Atlanta Braves scenario, and Henry Aaron played there at Old Sam Wolfson Park in 1954. Go ahead.
Right. And you were talking about with that other caller about the Cindy Portier Guess Who's Coming to Dinner movie.
Good movie.
Yep. Bernie Mac played in a little remake off of that in 2005 called Guess Who with Ashton Kutcher. But I want to talk about these Oscars and what you talked about.
Watch the original Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. It's better, I can guarantee it. But go ahead, fire away.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm a big Bernie Mac fan. So
right, good boy. A good boy.
So these Oscars, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's just become too politically correct. I mean, and the Sunday before the Super Bowl, I tried to get into the Grammys, but I got so agitated I had to turn it off and when I got Kesha singing up there like she's been through this hardship and this and that, when she hasn't necessarily been a bastion of what we call a good girl of singers nowadays either. I just couldn't take it. And one in particular movie that I had a problem with that wasn't nominated for an Oscar, but it's bothered me ever since, was Cars 3. I love the first Cars movie.
Boy.
Cars 2 was okay. Well, Cars 2 was okay, but Cars 3 was like Rocky 4, but 10 but 20 times worse. I mean, the plot was horrible. And then they tried to cheat the movie near the end when they put Cruz to replace Lightning McQueen, and then Lightning McQueen, was like the Doc Hudson, and it's like coaching her and all of that. And then next thing you know, they put up on the big board, oh yeah, and by the way, Lightning McQueen won. I mean, you
are speaking a language there, a sophomore in high school that I can't relate to. Cause 3, but I'm glad you made that ball club. That's the most important thing. Tony in Shreveport, Louisiana. Tony, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hey, what's up, Mad Dog? How you doing, man?
All right, Tony, doing well, thanks. What's going on? What do you have for me?
Yesterday you talked briefly about your top 25 tennis players of all time. My question to you is,
well, first off, the first thing you got to do when you rank that, you can't put you could do it. You can't put women involved with men, and you can't put men involved with women. They're two separate categories. So I'm not putting Serena in the mix. Serena's on her own category with the women, and Federer's in his own category with the men. So I'm not going to combine them as I guess Tennis.com did. Go ahead.
Well, I agree, but my question to you is this: do you really think Andre Agassi, in his prime, could not beat Nadal? I mean, Agassi is probably the best return guy I've ever seen in tennis, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair. Now, a couple of things about that. One, and he had to deal with Sampras, so that's a factor. Agassi only won one Wimbledon. Agassi probably won. I can count. I'd say he won 7 Grand Slams. He probably won 2 Opens, a Wimbledon, 1 French. He may have won 1 Open and 3 or 4 Australians. He has won all 4 of the Grand Slam events, but I don't know, Tony, if I'm going to put Agassi on that level. He's not better than Nadal. He is. I think the top 5 in tennis in the men's side is very tricky. If you go, let's say, from the mid-50s on, or go from the Open era, as we discussed it, because you got Sampras, Borg, Federer, Laver. I don't know how you don't put those 4 in there in some capacity. I mean, Laver won 11 Grand Slam titles. He won at Wimbledon and he won at the French Open. Sampras did not win a French, but he dominated for such a long period of time. Won 7 Wimbledons. Federer speaks for itself. And then, of course, Laver won 2 Grand Slams. The second one he won when the pros played. So, to me, you have to put those 4 in. And what order you want to put them in is a debate. But where that 5th guy is tricky. I think it has to be Nadal. I know he won 10 of the one surface, which does bother me, but it has to be Nadal. Now, what order you want to put the 5 in is up to you. 15 in front of the hour. We continue. Mad Dog on.